Cowboys Nation, we need to take a hard look at where this team stands right now, because watching the defense has become increasingly difficult. Last Sunday night, once again, the Dallas Cowboys came up short, losing 34-26, a score that highlights problems that have been simmering all season. The defense, under the direction of Matt Eberflus, is failing to operate at the level that is expected in today's NFL, and the issues go beyond individual mistakes. The schemes appear slow to adapt, players are often misaligned, and there is a persistent struggle to deal with even basic offensive motions. Watching these breakdowns is frustrating because these are mistakes that simply should not be happening in 2035. The lack of a coherent defensive identity reflects on coaching decisions rather than just the execution by players. Every week, it seems like the Cowboys are a step behind, and the moments where the defense shows promise are brief and inconsistent, making it nearly impossible to trust the unit to hold up when the stakes are high. One of the most glaring problems has been the handling of the pass rush. Early in games, there are moments when blitzes appear to be effective, yet they are quickly abandoned as if the staff has an invisible quota of pressures to hit before calling it quits. This inconsistency prevents the defense from creating meaningful pressure on quarterbacks, leaving them comfortable in the pocket and able to pick apart coverage. Player performance is also affected by coaching decisions, with personnel choices often placing athletes in positions where success is difficult, if not impossible. When you watch the tape, it is clear that the failures are systematic. Misalignment, hesitation, poor assignments, and a lack of situational awareness combine to make the unit predictable and exploitable. Allowing quarterbacks to have career games against your defense, as seen recently with J.J. McCarthy, is not an anomaly. It is a reflection of strategic failure. When a player consistently sets career highs because your defense cannot stop him, the problem cannot be blamed on one bad week. This is a recurring pattern that indicates deeper, structural issues within the coaching approach. The challenge for the Cowboys is further compounded by the instability at the defensive coordinator position. The team has cycled through multiple coordinators in recent seasons, and while continuity is often a goal, cannot come at the expense of competence. Retaining a coach for the sake of consistency does not solve performance problems, and when the results on the field are this poor, the players are the ones who suffer. Every game in which the defense underperforms erodes confidence, and mistakes are magnified because there is no adaptive response from leadership. Accountability starts at the top, and when the defensive coordinator fails to organize, motivate, and make proper adjustments, it is the system itself that fails. Decisions about who plays, where they play, and how schemes are executed frequently contradict basic football logic. Veterans with questionable performances remain on the field, while other players who could provide stability sit idle. The result is a defense that appears unprepared, out of sync, and repeatedly overmatched by opponents, leaving the team in a vulnerable position week after week. Looking at recent games, the statistics reinforce what the eyes already see. Blitz rates drop sharply after initial attempts, allowing quarterbacks to exploit weaknesses with ease. Every misalignment and every hesitation becomes a scoring opportunity for the opposing offense. Players like Kenneth Murray are often caught out of position repeatedly, reflecting both on their performance and on how the coaching staff has instructed or failed to instruct them. Continuing to play individuals in areas where they struggle creates a pattern of questionable judgment and magnifies the defense's overall failures. The defensive metrics tell a story of a unit that is not only underperforming, but doing so in a way that is preventable. Each misstep accumulates, each blown coverage becomes a point, and by the end of the game, the cumulative effect is a loss that could have been avoided with better preparation, smarter decisions, and more effective scheming. Over the course of the season, this pattern has become even more concerning. Opponents have consistently produced some of their best performances against Dallas, and this is not coincidental. The defensive shortcomings are persistent, showing up in game after game, from points allowed to efficiency metrics. The defense has become the weak link, letting the offense shoulder more pressure than it should. Even when the offense performs admirably, the defense is frequently the difference between a competitive game and a discouraging defeat. The trajectory is clear with just a few games remaining on the schedule. Without immediate changes, this unit will continue to be a liability. The problems are systemic, not isolated, and they require urgent attention from coaching staff and management alike. Waiting for a turnaround without decisive action is unlikely to produce results, as the current leadership structure has already shown its limitations. The Cowboys need a strategy that can adapt, personnel decisions that make sense, and preparation that translates to execution on the field. From a management perspective, there is also a troubling sense of indecision. Public statements suggest the organization is evaluating defensive performance, but hesitation to make real changes leaves both players and fans frustrated. Continuation for the sake of appearance cannot be a solution when the performance is consistently negative. The players are trapped in a cycle of inefficiency, repeatedly asked to succeed under a system that does not provide the tools to do so. Fans witness repeated mistakes and poor adjustments, eroding confidence in the coaching staff and the team as a whole. The inability to adapt, poor decision-making in personnel, and continued breakdowns make a compelling argument for a significant overhaul. For a team with legitimate aspirations to compete at the highest level, accepting mediocrity in the defensive unit is not an option. The struggles we are seeing are not temporary setbacks. They reflect structural issues that must be addressed immediately if the Cowboys hope to be competitive in the coming seasons. The development of individual players is another area of concern. Under the current system, regression is evident in multiple areas, particularly within the secondary. Players who once displayed consistency and smart decision-making are now prone to mistakes, slow reactions, and confusion on the field. These issues cannot be attributed solely to talent. They reflect inadequate coaching, preparation, and in-game adjustments. Football is a game defined by preparation, and a defense that consistently allows scoring demonstrates a lack of planning and execution at a professional level. Watching the tape reveals misalignments, blown coverages, missed assignments, and a lack of awareness that should not exist at this level. Fans are not expecting perfection, but they do expect basic competence, and what they're seeing falls well below the standard required to compete in the NFL. Blitzing and pressure schemes highlight another problem. Once a potential weapon, these strategies have become inconsistent and largely ineffective. Quarterbacks quickly adjust to minimal or poorly timed pressure, and the illusion of strategy without execution undermines confidence for both players and fans. Players like Kenneth Murray exemplify this issue. Talented and capable, yet misused in ways that prevent them from impacting the game effectively. This is not about blaming one player. It is about recognizing that coaching decisions shape the opportunities for success. Mismanagement of personnel, coupled with ineffective scheming, creates a defense that is predictable and vulnerable. Talent alone is insufficient when strategic guidance and coherent structure are missing. Continuing with the defensive struggles, it is impossible to ignore how much the Cowboys' issues go beyond just schemes and alignments. The psychological toll on players is significant, as repeated failures undermine confidence and create hesitation on the field. When athletes are unsure whether their coaches will adjust or provide clear guidance, mistakes become inevitable. The offense feels additional pressure to compensate for defensive lapses, often forcing them into risky decisions that lead to turnovers or stall drives. This creates a negative feedback loop where one side of the ball struggles ripple across the entire team, eroding cohesion and making it increasingly difficult to establish a consistent identity. Over the course of the season, the lack of trust in defensive leadership becomes glaring, and what should be a unit working in unison instead operates in fragments, reacting to situations rather than dictating the flow of the game. The inability to counter opposing strengths has become a recurring theme, whether defending the run, handling pre-snap motion, or generating pressure on quarterbacks. The defense is routinely exposed. Watching game film, it is clear that players often do not fully understand their roles. Alignments are frequently off, and in-game adjustments are almost non-existent. A lack of proactive, intelligent decision-making from coaching staff is directly costing the team critical moments in close games. In professional football, marginal differences often determine the outcome, and when the defense fails to adapt, those marginal differences consistently fall on the wrong side. The Cowboys are handicapped not by talent alone, but by leadership that fails to respond to dynamic offenses in real time. Without a serious reassessment of strategy and personnel, there is no reason to expect this trend to reverse itself naturally. The argument for urgent changes is compelling, and the evidence is right there on the field each week. Player development is also being negatively affected by these systemic problems. Young athletes and recent additions to the roster are not progressing as expected. Instead of growth and refinement, there is stagnation or even regression, which speaks volumes about the inadequacies in coaching methodology. The defensive unit should be a space where players can hone their skills, develop instincts, and grow confident in their roles. Instead, the current environment has turned into one where potential is squandered, preparation does not translate to execution, and every mistake is amplified by poor leadership decisions. This mismanagement has broader implications, affecting trust between teammates, coordination across positions, and the overall execution of the team's game plan. Even elite athletes struggle to excel when the structural framework around them is weak, inconsistent, and unreliable. From a statistical perspective, the evidence is undeniable. The Cowboys have allowed opponents to set career highs and season-best numbers repeatedly, and this is not a fluke. The defense's shortcomings have become a trend, showing up across every key metric: points allowed, efficiency in coverage, run defense, and pressure on the quarterback. These statistics paint a picture of systemic failure, not isolated incidents. The repeated inability to generate pressure allows quarterbacks to manipulate the field, dissect coverage, and exploit mismatches. Every missed assignment or dropped blitz contributes to an increasingly predictable defense that opposing offenses can anticipate and plan for in advance. The data is unambiguous. This unit is consistently underperforming, and without immediate intervention, it will continue to be a liability that undermines the team's success. Leadership decisions continue to compound these issues. Personnel choices, rotation patterns, and in-game adjustments often contradict basic football logic, leaving players in positions where success is unlikely. Veterans who are struggling remain on the field, while others who could provide more stability sit out. These decisions not only affect individual performances, but also disrupt the cohesion and rhythm of the entire defensive unit. The lack of strategic foresight creates moments of chaos in coverage, forcing players to improvise instead of execute a well-structured plan. When the team consistently allows high-scoring performances from opponents, it is a reflection of flawed preparation and poor in-game management rather than mere execution errors by athletes. This recurring pattern has a demoralizing effect on the roster and leaves fans frustrated with the coaching staff's inability to adapt effectively. The cumulative effect of these failures on team morale cannot be overstated. A struggling defense forces the offense into difficult situations, often requiring them to take risks that lead to mistakes or turnovers. This imbalance creates a cycle of frustration, lowering confidence across the roster and making it increasingly difficult to compete at a high level. When fans witness the same breakdowns week after week, trust in leadership erodes, and questions about accountability multiply. The combination of poor coaching, inconsistent strategy, and recurring execution failures makes it clear that change is necessary. The Cowboys cannot continue to operate under the assumption that talent alone will overcome structural deficiencies. A defense that consistently underperforms jeopardizes not just individual games, but the overall trajectory of the season, making it impossible for the team to achieve its goals without decisive intervention. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The NFL world is buzzing after whispers turn into headlines. Aaron Donald, the fearsome defensive tackle, is reportedly joining the Dallas Cowboys. Sources close to the team hint that the signing is more than just a high-profile acquisition. It's a declaration of war across the NFC East. Donald, already a three-time Defensive Player of the Year, has been known for turning games upside down, and now Cowboys fans are daring to dream of a defense that could shake the league's most storied division. According to insiders, Donald's arrival comes with a bold promise, a relentless hunt for quarterbacks in the NFC East. The mere thought has rival teams on edge. Imagine the likes of Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, and Daniel Jones facing one of the most dominant interior linemen of this generation. Rumors suggest that the Cowboys front office sees Donald as a cornerstone to redefine defensive dominance. He's expected to bring a mix of brute strength, surgical pass rush moves, and a disruptive presence that could change the rhythm of opposing offenses. The locker room reaction, as sources tell us, is a mix of awe and adrenaline. Veteran Cowboys defenders are reportedly thrilled, while younger players are eager to learn from a player whose reputation borders on legendary. There's even talk that Donald could mentor rising stars on the defensive line, turning Dallas into a veritable fortress. Analysts speculate that his signing might force the NFC East quarterbacks to rethink protection schemes entirely, knowing that at any moment, Donald could collapse the pocket in a heartbeat. Of course, skeptics are pointing out the risks: age, injury history, and the challenge of adapting to a new system. But the excitement is hard to ignore. Fans on social media are already fantasizing about highlight reels of sacks, forced fumbles, and relentless pressure. One thing is certain: wherever Aaron Donald goes, chaos seems to follow quarterbacks. And if the rumors are true, the NFC East may be in for a season of unrelenting defensive nightmares. Cowboys Nation, it seems, is bracing for a tidal wave, and the league might never see anything like it again. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.